All right, a lot to talk about here. With me now, the founder of LeGrand Law, Rebecca LeGrand, former senior advisor to the Trump campaign, Brian Lanza, and CNN political commentator Karen Finney. Good to see all of you. Karen,
we want the image of from our standpoint, men are from women, men are from Venus and women are from Mars. We want the image of this senator investing so much of his time on an illegal alien and ignoring his constituents.
Rebecca, you're cracking your knuckles.
I know, because I care about the Constitution. I'm a lawyer, and
He clearly didn't.
Who didn't?
The illegal alien who broke our laws.
So I'd like to read a little bit from Judge Wilkinson, and you know Judge Wilkinson, incredibly respected conservative jurist.
Reagan appointee.
Reagan appointee, shortlisted for the Supreme Court numerous times. Here is what he said today, and I think everyone needs to read it. And if I can, I'll read a few quotes.
Go for it.
The government is asserting a right to stash away residents of this country in a foreign prison without the semblance of due process that is the foundation of our constitutional order. That should be shocking, not only to judges, but to the intuitive sense of liberty that Americans far removed from courthouses still hold dear. He goes on. He talks about the threat to our the rule of law, to the foundations of our Constitution, if this kind of behavior can go on. And we're talking about a conservative judge. And he essentially ends with almost a prayer that the executive branch does the right thing and follows the law here. And I don't understand why this is this should not be controversial. It is a request that the president and the executive branch follow the law.
And with all of this, look, we have seen attacks on maybe individual things that Abrego Garcia has done, whether it's coming into this country illegally, allegations of being a gang member. But the circuit court here, the appeals court, asserted very clearly, saying the government asserts that Abrego Garcia is a terrorist and a member of MS-13. Perhaps, but perhaps not, he is still entitled to due process. So I guess the question is here, from a political standpoint, it's clear the White House has a strategy. And I guess from a Democratic standpoint, is this something that Republicans can capitalize on by portraying someone like Senator Van Hollen as, oh, look, he went down and met with someone who is XYZ?
Well, Brian just articulated the talking points. I mean, that's what we've been here. Those are also your talking points that we've heard all week, frankly, from Republicans. But the facts are also that the President of the United States, someone who has flouted the courts throughout his career, and certainly we've seen this in the last couple of years, he also has to follow the law. He also has to ensure due process. And so we are going to see this clash between the executive branch and the judicial branch. And I think Americans are very uncomfortable with that. And one of the things we've seen time and time again in polling, this happened during the Iraq War, time and time again, Americans will say, we want our president to follow the law. So for Democrats, I think what's important is to stick to the values and what this case is about in terms of either we're going to be a nation that follows the Constitution or we're not. And if we're not, then let's just be honest about that. Let's not pretend that there's one set of laws for one group of people and another set of laws for a different group of people.
And Brian, just politically, what is the strategy here? I mean, because I know you see a strategy here politically. There clearly is one.
The talk about illegal immigration. I mean, this is an issue that's one for the president. Look, polling's come out in the last 72 hours that show 56% of the country agree with his position on how he's handling deportations. 10 years ago, you only had 38% of the country who wanted deportations. Now you have the vast majority. So clearly his message is working. He's convincing the American people that illegal immigration is a problem, that it has an effect on jobs, that it has an effect on crime, that it has an effect on housing, it has an effect on community. And the voters over the years have grown more popular to his positions. And he's going to continue executing. And those images, maybe it is a different image or different appeal, but we very much want to have United States senators traveling to foreign countries fighting for illegal aliens while other senators in red states are defending victims of illegal aliens. That's a conversation we will win every day, and the fact that the Democrats want to do it every day, to me, is confusing. But let them do it.
And Rebecca, just before we go, I know you wanted to get in there.
I'm really shocked as just a citizen of this country. I agree with Judge Wilkinson. I don't always agree with him. He's a very conservative judge. But I'll quote again. If these actions are allowed to stand, if the government's current conduct is allowed to stand, it would reduce the rule of law to lawlessness and tarnish the very values that Americans of diverse views and persuasions have always stood for. That's what we're talking about here. We're talking about a threat to the most fundamental rights in the Constitution. And of course I want our congressmen and our senators to try and do the right thing, as the executive branch should be doing as well, should be complying with the Supreme Court order. I mean, that is shocking.
And that ruling did not hold back, and we don't always see judges sort of acknowledge the outside sort of pressures and worlds outside of the courtrooms themselves. And I just want to say, before we go, President Bukele tweeted out, "I love chess." It's quote tweeted by Dan Scavino with a chess piece and an eye emoji. So stay tuned.
Yeah.
Clearly more at play here.